I mean, I have a whole team, a whole corporate engagement team, all day, every day. We are working to try to connect Georgia Tech faculty and researchers and students to the private sector.
So we're here with Tim Lieuwen, Executive Vice President, Georgia Tech. Tim, I'd love for you to just give the audience your background and your oversight of Georgia Tech and its ecosystem.
Yeah, so I serve as the Executive Vice President of Research at Georgia Tech. So in that, I oversee all the research and the commercialization and the economic development work that we do as an institute. So we have about 10,000 people on this campus that are doing research, and everything from national security to health to robotics and manufacturing. So it's a fascinating portfolio. I have a cool job. I love my job. In addition to the research that we do, we also have a very significant activity around translating and commercializing that into real world use. So we have significant activities to train and coach and support our students, to train and coach and support our faculty. And frankly, we run a program called ATDC, which supports any entrepreneur in the state of Georgia to start companies. And the whole idea is trying to get innovation out there, trying to solve problems that we all deal with. Again, to try to make a better diagnostic to catch cancer quicker, or a better robot to make a manufacturing process more efficient. And so we have a large infrastructure around supporting people who want to start companies in the energy sector, in the national security sector, in the AI sector, and so forth. And then lastly, so I talked about research, I talked about commercialization, also economic development. We take our economic development role very seriously. You know, part of my job is to support the entire state, all 159 counties of Georgia, and help make sure that we are providing the education, the upskilling, the workforce, supporting the companies that want to locate there, or the existing companies, working with communities, helping them address issues that they might have. And so anyway, yeah, that's a summary of the portfolio.
Tim, how would you describe what's being built here and why it's become such a magnet for tech companies looking to plug into the brain trust of Georgia Tech and this entire ecosystem?
Yeah, no, it's great to be here, and we're delighted that QumulusAI is moving into Tech Square, moving into the Biltmore. Delighted to see that. I think, so Tech Square at the end of the day it's an innovation district, and we've been very purposeful at Georgia Tech around trying to co-locate the students that we're educating, the companies that we're starting, that our own faculty are starting, investors, as well as other companies. And so the whole idea of this, close proximity to campus, the largest AI workforce development engine in the country is Georgia Tech. We produce more AI trained people than anywhere in the country. Right next to a $1.7 billion research enterprise, which is using AI all day, every day. Right next to venture capital, right next to large companies, right next to startups. And the whole idea is that proximity matters. And we're working to heavily and we're working to support that ecosystem.
That's awesome. And Tim, just maybe talk about your role at Georgia Tech and what you oversee and how that kind of fuels this ecosystem and what we're doing.
Yeah, so I serve as Executive Vice President of Research at Georgia Tech. So as I mentioned, it's about a $1.7 billion research enterprise. So it's the largest research university in the United States without a medical school. Very significant activities across national security, across health and medicine, across energy, robotics, manufacturing. And so, I steward that portfolio. And so we do everything from basic research to applied research to working with companies to translate innovations to starting companies. And so, for example, Georgia Tech will start about 140 companies this year. We have more student startups than any other university in the country, many of them AI related. And then we also, I would say we both work with the private sector, but we also work very closely with communities, helping communities solve problems, whether it's with their water infrastructure or how to modernize their police department or their fire department and things like that.
That's awesome. And Georgia Tech's research enterprise, as you just mentioned, is north of 1.7 billion. What does that translate into real world commercial impact? I know you're seeing that, you're realizing that. What does the pipeline from lab to market actually look like here?
Yeah, no, we're super serious about impact. And, the dollars are, they give you a measure of scale, but all day, every day, I'm thinking about how does this make the world a different place, a better place? And so we work very closely with companies. We work with Fortune 500 companies. We work with small manufacturing companies with 3 to 5 employees, and helping them to upskill workers, helping them to where we license IP that we own, where we collaborate with them on research, where we collaborate with them on testing. I mean, we're heavily involved in the critical path of major technology developments with many companies. But it's also the startups. We produce a lot of startups. Our faculty produce a lot of startups. Our students start a lot of companies. There's a number of unicorns that have come out from Georgia Tech in batteries and hypersonic airplanes, in cybersecurity, and so forth. And so we're really, really serious about getting it out there via engagement with existing companies, starting new companies, and working with communities as well.
I will have to say that I had a hand in recruiting our current CEO, Mike Maniscalco, and what he's done as CTO at Applied Digital is second to none. It's been amazing. He was an early player in this AI revolution, and he graduated from Georgia Tech, so he's a Georgia Tech alum. And so we're so excited about what that means to the leadership of this organization, our path, where we're going, becoming that hyper distributed inference infrastructure for this AI boom that we're seeing. But it's all being led by the largest market cap company in the world, NVIDIA. The NVIDIA relationship and compute infrastructure at Georgia Tech, and how you guys are really leaning into that meaningful relationship. I'd love for you to talk about how the AI market space, these super chips, what does that signal about where Georgia Tech sees the future of AI infrastructure research heading?
Yeah, and I would say the NVIDIA relationship, I mean, it's a special relationship, but I have a whole team, a whole corporate engagement team, all day, every day. We are working to try to connect Georgia Tech faculty and researchers and students to the private sector, whether it's through research collaborations, whether it's through student internships. And so we take that very, very seriously, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is have real impact in the world. We want to create good jobs. We want to make our air cleaner. We want to have better healthcare systems. And that's how we do that, is working with the private sector. So we're super intentional about that. And if I look at NVIDIA specifically, it just makes a lot of sense. Georgia Tech is the largest source of AI talent in the United States. We produce thousands of people with AI expertise, and we have a commitment that every one of our students that's graduating from Georgia Tech is AI native, with the idea that their talents are going to be amplified, and so that they can do the deep creative work that only humans can do, and that creativity is amplified by AI. And so we're also the largest source of talent to NVIDIA. That's one of the reasons why NVIDIA is so intentional about their relationship on campus. And then we're very, very invested in making the investments that we need to be making on our campus. We recognize is that for our students and faculty to be at the cutting edge, that they need the AI infrastructure. So we actually have an NVIDIA machine. It's funded by the National Science Foundation. $20 million machine. It's going to be a nice supercomputer. So we're super serious about getting the CPUs, getting the GPUs, getting the memory, getting the software, and that requires all the physical plant, right? The redundancy systems, the water, the electricity, and then the human capital to support that, and then really getting it out there again to our students and faculty so that they can use best-in-class software, so that they can discover better drugs for cancer or improve the efficiency of a manufacturing process. And we want to see more, right? So tell me a little bit, tell me why you came to Tech Square and what things we should be doing more of to see even more companies locating themselves in our innovation district.
We're from here. This is where we started. We're on this path, but we're full stack. So from the molecule of gas, from the power source, all the way through all of the infrastructure components in the powered shell, to the orchestration layer and the use cases that go on top of it, and appending that high performance compute cloud, all of that insatiable demand, that's a full stack ecosystem. So what better place than Georgia Tech that touches every layer of that value chain with great resources, with a brain trust, with talent, with enterprises, with research, with all of the components that you have right here at Tech Square, we can just walk right outside of our door and we can walk around Tech Square and we can connect all of the dots. The other thing that you guys do is something very intentional. You have enterprise engagement, you have research engagement, you have startup engagement. And these are paid faculty that actually immerse themselves of all of our capabilities. And then they go out into the ecosystem and start to connect the dots back to us.
We are delighted to have QumulusAI in Tech Square. Welcome.